For more, let's speak now with William G. Howell, Sidney Stein Professor in American Politics at the University of Chicago. Professor, thank you very much for your time today. So the jury delivering a decisive, relatively swift verdict today. Firstly, what do you make of the outcome and the speed of deliberations?
Well, they deliberated yesterday and today, and they came out unanimous in all 34 counts. They came out guilty for former President Trump. It's the first time a president has ever been convicted of a felony. There's a long history in America of presidents behaving poorly, of scandals, of making bad decisions. No former president has ever been convicted of a felony, and that was true until today. It's a big deal.
Yeah, Professor, will Trump's conviction change voters' minds? I mean, we heard from the sound bites earlier, is a mixed reaction with some people saying that they're still going to vote for him. And how do you think Trump is likely to use this conviction charge to his advantage in the bid for the White House?
I mean, I don't think it's going to change a lot of minds. I think people on the left are jubilant and people on the right are hardened, and they're going to vote in November as they've been planning to vote all along, either for or against Trump. What remains to be seen is whether or not there are a set of moderates, people in the middle, who say, voting for a convicted felon is just a bridge too far. I was entertaining the option of voting for Trump because I have my misgivings about Biden, but not now. We'll see if there are such people. If there are many such people, they could well make the difference. But I think in the interim, we can expect both camps to try to put this decision to good political use. You already showed at the top Trump, saying this is further evidence that everything is broken, everything's a sham. That's his dominant message, and he'll surely try to use this campaign as a way to raise additional funds. Just as we can expect this to become a talking point on the left, and that Biden will surely start referring to Trump as a convicted felon, which he decidedly is as of today.
So, Professor, we know sentencing is on July the 11th. That's just 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. How significant is that timing, and what potential punishment are we looking at for Trump?
I don't expect to see any punishment at the convention. Trump has just total control over the RNC and over the Republican Party more broadly. And I don't expect this to derail his efforts to secure the nomination. What remains to be seen is whether or not this is put to good political use by the Democratic Party such that Biden can get some traction in this campaign and win re-election in November. That's the big prize. And I think that's where we have some uncertainty. But the pivot from sentencing, whatever that might be, to a convention is one that Trump is amply prepared for. He's surely going to get the nomination, and he's got everything lined up for this to just be another talking point, another sort of proof of evidence, that everything, as he says, is broken. Everything's a sham. Everything's political, and he's the one now to stand up for conservatives and for America that he says is falling behind.
All right, Professor. In the meantime, Trump is expected to appeal. What is his defense team likely to say? How could this all play out, bearing in mind that this is unprecedented? Of course, there is nothing in the history books that gives clues on what could possibly happen next.
Well, it's true. I mean, we're in uncharted territory, and he will surely appeal this, and I'm sure he'll make a host of legal arguments. Among them will be concerns about the expansive scope, the latitude given to some of the witnesses, notably Stormy Daniels in her testimony, that will feature as part of the appeals process. But look, the appeals process is going to play out over months, probably years. This is going to take a good amount of time. And in the meantime, there is a general election and then votes that will be cast in November. And so it's not clear that the appeals process is going to bear upon the dynamics of the campaign. except insofar as Trump is going to be saying we're going to appeal this and this surely will be overturned. But I don't expect that there's going to be any unraveling of the decision that's been made today by a jury in New York, which unanimously convicted him on all 34 counts.
A moment ago, Professor, you mentioned President Biden's camp's reaction to this. We know that they've said no one's above the law. How much more aggressive do you expect Mr. Biden to get in his response to this verdict?
I think it's going to become a talking point. He already, a dominant theme for Biden has been, accurately in my assessment, that democracy hangs in the balance in this upcoming election. This is not just a debate between a conservative worldview and a liberal worldview and a debate about the size and reach of government. It very much is about the extent to which we uphold the rule of law and abide by democratic norms. And concerns about the legal accountability of presidential behavior have tended to today, insofar as finally we see some, certainly from Biden's perspective, we see some accounting that Trump has had to face. This is somebody who was impeached twice but not convicted, and has managed to delay the court cases that are being played out at both the federal and the state level around the United States right now as well. And so this is the one case where, well, he had to sort of face some hard truths. And again, we'll see what implications that has for the votes that are finally cast on that first Tuesday in November.
All right. Many thanks for your time. William G. Howell, the Sidney Stein Professor in American Politics at the University of Chicago.